What's up guys? In today's video we're going to be discussing how I use a higher time frame analysis to find entries and analyze the markets on specifically ES, but this can be directly translated into NQ. The two main components that we're using here are the market structure and the footprint. So I'm looking at imbalances, I'm looking at delta, and then I'm also looking at the market structure. I'm looking at the market structure specifically for prominent lows and highs and liquidity levels. So those are the three main things. And so what I want to see is a prominent level, such as right here, right? This is a prominent low that we have in the market, and we get a little bounce from it. And what I want to see is huge negative delta closing below the low, followed by huge positive. So what you see is originally we have a wick below. I completely ignore this as that's just noise, and what I'm looking for is a actual close below. You can see that the red candle closes below, followed by a buying imbalances coming in at the close. But most importantly, following it is we have huge positive delta, and I would typically take a long right at this close once we get that trap for 10 points, which we hit, and with a 10-point stop loss. I use a 1-to-1 RR on this setup, and so that's pretty much the premise. Typically I'm only looking for one trade a day. Typically we'll find about 4 trades a week using this setup, and so if we get a second trade that day, I probably won't take it, but you can see that there was a second setup here. The huge positive delta closing above this intraday high. This wasn't a prominent high, but it was a inside high because it wasn't, above, like right here. You can see that it's a lower high, so it's more of an inside high, not so prominent, but still a high. But nonetheless, we got the close below, huge negative delta, and then we get the move down for 19 points. We're just going to go through a few days here just to kind of explain the strategy. So this is an example of a setup I wouldn't take, and the reason is because we do have the 2700 delta closing above a high, but what you can see is that we have 279 delta here, followed by the huge negative delta. Typically I want to see this be above 900. If it's below that, even if it's not on the breaking structure candle, I still don't want to have that gap candle, which is like a noise candle. So I probably wouldn't have taken this play, even though obviously it worked out. Now this is a play I would consider taking, right? The huge positive delta closing above this high right here. But what we see is that it closes with negative 4,000, but it only went for about 8.5 points. So most likely I would have gotten stopped out on that play, right? And then we get another setup, but like I said, the second setup I'm not taking, and also because it's the afternoon setup happening at 14 o'clock, it makes it less high quality. The morning setups before 12 p.m. are ideally the ones that I want to target. Now this is a setup I would consider taking because we close below that prominent low. We have the noise candle, right? We have buying imbalances coming in at the lows of the candle, but we do have this noise candle. What we can see is that it's huge negative delta, right? And then the huge positive delta, so I would consider taking this play, which obviously it ran for some points there. Now you can see right here we have the candle close below. We don't get a huge positive delta candle, so I wouldn't consider taking this, but it takes us 2 candles right here to get huge positive, and on this candle you can see that it's a red candle with huge positive. Now I may consider taking this play just depending on the context of the market that day, right? You can see that we are we tested below this low, so technically liquidity grabbed that level. We didn't get the close below, but just depending on the day, I may take this play on this candle closure right here. But it would be different just depending on the context of the day. This right here is a super high quality play. You can see that we close above this prominent high that formed, you can see that we formed above this prominent high, followed by huge negative delta. And you can see the amount of positive delta that was here, but we're not really focusing on if it's a huge positive amount or not. We just want to see extreme delta trapping that extreme positive, right? The huge negative doesn't outweigh the huge positive, but the fact is that we get huge negative, so I would look to take a short on this candle close, right, for 44 points. Keep in mind we're on a 30-minute time frame here. Now this is another setup I would consider taking, right? We get the close below this prominent low, followed by huge negative delta once again, and then we get the huge positive, and I would take this at close for 10 plus points. And probably wouldn't have taken these plays, right? Huge negative delta on this green candle, It's a bit of an iffy play, not super high quality. This is the play I would consider taking. Actually, this play isn't super high quality because this isn't the prominent high. This is the prominent high, but we did technically close above a semi-high right here, not super high quality, and then we get the huge negative delta. Only went for about 9 points there, so probably would have gotten stopped out. Typically, I want to see it close above the prominent high. Obviously, the TDU market structure marked this out as a high, so a bit of an iffy play there. Probably still would have taken it, to be honest with you. This is a very nice play right here, kind of similar to what happened over here, right, where we didn't have that prominent high, but it was still technically a high, right? Not the prominent high, but still technically a high. We get the huge positive delta followed by the negative, and then that would have been the short entry. On top of it also being having a ratio with buyer imbalances getting trapped at the top. So a pretty nice quality play right here, which is why I still would consider, I just trust the TDU market structure to mark out these levels for me, which is why I would still take this play, as I just trust the market structure indicator. And you can see that obviously went for some good amount of points there. Right, this wouldn't be a play right here, for one, because we already had our play for the day, and then two, this doesn't have huge negative delta, it's only minus 500. But hopefully that was enough for you guys to understand, right? It's a very simple concept. Typically, like I said, we're only looking for one play a day. Some days we may not even get a play, so you just have to be patient, waiting for that good quality setup. And right, if you have any questions, just be sure to ask in the Discord. Like I said, this is on a higher time frame analysis, so anything above the 30-minute you can use this on. You can also use this on NQ, as it pretty much applies for the same setup. Just keep in mind that the 15 range is more of an entry time frame, right? I'm not using it as high time frame analysis, but the 30-minute in this strategy alone can be used as higher time frame analysis and the entry time frame. But anyways, like I said, if you have any questions, be sure to ask in the Discord, and I'll see you guys later.